calcium sulfate with 2 molecules of water. What you can see, I don't have any flashlight. These holes that you can see, these are natural holes. There are a couple of holes like this in the shaft. We have one really interesting. You can put your hand inside. It's really spiky crystals inside. It's really cool. This mine is excavated really hard from the 30s, 40s from the last century up until 80s and 90s. Because of the clarity, it was only used in medical industry, so casts, tooth fillings, stuff like that. At the moment, we don't use it for anything. We use it only for decoration. 10-15 years ago, we sent a couple of really big containers to Japan. So this is only for decoration. We have a really interesting story from 1982 when I was born. It's not just an interesting story that I was born, but the story is 1892. The family Knauf called the managers of the old Radica factory because they knew that there's a lot of gypsum here, but they didn't know that there is selenite here. In the world, there are many places where you can find selenite, but in different shapes. Like in the Baltic states, we have a quarry where we have, for example, 2 meters of alabaster and 1 centimeter of selenite. Then again, 2 meters of alabaster, 1 centimeter of selenite. So there are 2 really cool places in the world where you can find selenite. The first one is this one, and this is the only place where you can find selenite in this is according to mining standards. This has unlimited quantities because we have drilled more than 150 meters in all directions, vertical, down, up, left, right. There is no end of this material. And the second one is in Mexico, underneath the Chihuahua Desert. There is a really interesting cave. But what's the 2 interesting things there? First of all, it's not like complete mountain made of selenite. It's really big caves with really thick selenite crystals going like columns inside. But what's really bad there, the temperature inside it is above 60 degrees Celsius, 60, which means that only scientists with cold air can go inside, take pictures, take samples, and go out in 5-10 minutes because it's really terrible. This place is 13 to 14 degrees all year long. Winter, summer, it's always 13-14. And this mine is well known throughout history. When the guys from the old factory started excavating here, they were finding really old tools, really corroded. 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500 years old. We had a guest here in 1987, I think. There was a World Summit of geologists. There was a geologist who after he saw this quantity of materials, remember that he saw a really big chunk of selenite in the tomb of Cheops, in the Cheops pyramid, the biggest pyramid of the plateau of Giza. And when he saw this big quantity of selenite, he remembered that the only place that he knew that had this big quantities of selenite is Debar. So someone, maybe some Roman emperor who was ruling this region, took this really big chunk of selenite as a present to the pharaoh who was ruling Egypt at this time.
Pharaoh?
In the region, this mineral is really known. For example, 2, 3, 4 centuries ago, they were making windows out of this. When they didn't have enough glass, they were putting this as a windows because it has really good thermal insulation, unlike glass. As I mentioned previously, the girls from the region use this water actually to clean their faces. Even if you touch this is pure. Okay, this is the mineral, but this is pure sulfur crystals. you can them also in the corridor. And when we visit the wider halls, you will see really big surfaces of water with a layer of sulfur crystals on top. The girls in Debar, in the old times, were using this scrama, this layer of crystals to clean their faces.
Like exfoliation or...
Yeah, exactly, exfoliation with the clearest and the cleanest type of material that is needed for the skin. The Germans call it Marienglas, glass, which is really famous. In Germany also we have some small layers, centimeters of gypsum. And I didn't tell you the story about, the funny story from 1982. The Germans called the managers of Canal of Radika, the old factory, and they said, can we make some cooperation? They called our managers from back then to visit Iphofen, our central in Germany, and to exchange experience. And they said, you can bring some samples of the materials that you create. And they put inside a large truck, double truck, filled with, they didn't have nested boards, they had some plaster blocks, they had plasters, they had, I don't know what else, and they brought like really, really big chunks of this crystal, like 3 big chunks like the engine there. And they drove from here to Iphofen, which is like 2-day drive maybe, the truck behind and the combi with 5-6 people from the factory in front. And they went there, they were having meetings for 2 or 3 days, and the last day, our owner from that time, Nikolaus Knauf, who is now in retirement since 10 years ago, he brought them, like there were 5 people from Macedonia, and they gave them wooden boxes, Knauf written on top of it. It's really good looking box with something inside. And when the guys from Macedonia opened the box, there was a small piece of this mineral, like 2 centimeters on 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter. And our guys were like, yeah, okay, but the box is really good. And Nikolaus Knauf said, do you know what's that inside? And they said, yes, selenite. How do you know what's selenite? Because the Germans knew that we have gypsum, but they didn't know that we have the selenite in these quantities. And how do you know what selenite is? And the guy said, did you check the truck that we brought? No. When can you imagine Nikolaus Knauf, who is a descendant of a family who made like industry, like giant industry from the gypsum, coming here like 1 month later and seeing all these quantities? He was like a kid in a candy store. Like his legs were shaking. Oh my God! Then the war in Yugoslavia came. They wanted to make. They started thinking about buying the old factory. Then war in Yugoslavia came, and finally they came in Macedonia in 1994. They bought the factory in 1997. This is all under their concession, and the story about how the Macedonians were impressed by the wooden box is still funny because you know the quantity of the material.